Okay, how about now? Can you all hear me now? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me now. Yes, okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh my goodness. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness, welcome. I'm so happy that you all are here tonight. Um, I'm not going to be on the camera tonight because I need you all to pay attention to this. I need you to feel the resonance in my voice, what I'm saying, okay? And take notes on this. Welcome, everyone. Again, I'm so happy that you are here tonight, that you decided to tune in for whatever reason. Everyone, this is one of those things that everyone needs to know about. And because it affects all of you statistically, okay? So the topic is what your kidneys are really holding on to. And I know people like, oh, I don't have any issues with kidneys. That's for people with diabetes. I'm healthy. I'm plant-based, or whatever the situation is. And they think this doesn't affect them. And statistics say differently. Now, the reason why I'm even doing this presentation is because I shared this with you all at the beginning of the year, that I was spiritually led to do group detoxes, 3 in particular, and in a specific order. And the first one was a parasite detox that we did already, which was amazing. A lot of you participated. And then I was told do a kidney one and then do the liver one. And I was told what months to do them in, that there were 3 different phases to do them in, and that they needed to be done with support. And the reason being is because we have expanded and spiritually, and the physical body takes a hit. The physical body will 100% be affected. And so our physical bodies have to be strong for what has been happening and what is to come. Okay, for what is to come. These systems are in breakdown mode. And for spiritual beings, for those who are in alignment, you're good. Okay, I want you to know that this is not to scare anyone at all. I don't do that. And so the kidney detox was one that we're already planning. And what I said is that I shared it with people. I will send emails out for anyone who's not aware of it, just to let you know if you want to join. That's perfectly fine. If not, perfectly fine. I always say follow your promptings. That's my thing, right? And so I wasn't going to come on YouTube and talk about this. I wasn't. Last week, and y'all, I have slides here so that we can stay. There's so much information, and I want to make sure that I stay in a certain flow. Okay. So this is my way of organizing my channelings and my many thoughts. So this wasn't a part of the plan. I wasn't going to come live and talk about this. And last week, I was actually preparing the workshop for the kidney detox. And as I was preparing the workshop, I started getting this holy fury within me as I was looking up statistics. And if any one of you have ever been in the liver detox workshops that I've done, the first day workshop or the parasite detox is not general information. I teach you the anatomy of your body, how your physical body works. I teach how your spiritual body works. I teach the functions of it. And I talk about the detox that we're doing, why we're doing it, the phases that we're doing it, everything. So you walk away with the whole science lesson in a way that is understandable, okay? So I'm not going to give you difficult concepts or, words that will make you check out. I want everyone to be able to understand what it is that I'm teaching. So I wasn't going to even do this on YouTube. And as I was preparing the presentation, I said, there's no way. There's only a certain amount of people that are going to be in the kidney detox, but there are millions of people that need to know this information. And not that millions of people are going to watch this video, but those of you who watch this video, I want you to share this information with your friends, your family, anyone you care about, even strangers. You hear me? Because the research that I uncovered, it created missing puzzle pieces to certain people that I know that have certain sicknesses, and certain people in my personal life that have had physical deaths. And I finally said, I get it. I understand. This is information that is hidden from you. Right now, I want everyone to pause before I continue. Share this video with someone. Share this video with someone. Like this video. This is about speaking truth. And I'm going to expose some things, some organizations, and some things as well here tonight. So this is the other reason why I'm not on camera, because I really want you all to pay attention to this. So let's begin. $37 million US adults have chronic kidney disease. That is 14% of the population. That means 1 in every 7 adults is affected. I did not say diabetes. We have this idea that kidneys disease, or someone that has an issue with the kidneys, is diabetes. That is not the truth. And because you're not told the truth, people are dying of unknown illnesses, or we don't know what their sickness is or what their problem is. And we could attribute many of these things to the kidneys. 1 in 7 adults is affected. These are the statistics. And this right here is the kicker. 9 out of 10 of those don't even know. Not that, oh, I have low blood sugar or high blood sugar. Chronic kidney disease, which means there's a 60% you will die from this. And I'm going to get more into the statistics on this. This is why I was so upset. So out of the 1 of 7 people, when I say 1 of 7 people, that's not like 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 10,000. This is not rare, y'all. This is not rare. 90% of that group don't even know that their kidneys are failing. And out of that percentage of people that don't know, 60% of them, 60 to 70% of them are going to die. Not when they get old. They're going to have deaths that's connected to it. We don't know what happened to them. Their health just started failing. Things just started happening. And it's caught too late. So let's put this into perspective. So on my YouTube channel, I have like 20,000 subscribers. That means between 3,000 and 3,400 already have chronic kidney disease. Listen to me, it is not reversible. It is not reversible. And 90% of those people, between 2,700 and 3,000, don't even know it. Okay? And so, because I know how our brains work, some of you are like, well, that's not me. I'm not part of that. That's the other thousands of people. That can't be me. So let's bring it home a little bit more. There's about 100 people watching this, right? 13 of you, 13 of you right here, let's say 15, is that 117? 15 of you have chronic kidney disease, and 14 of you don't know it. 14, did you hear what I said? 14 of you don't know that there's a 60 to 70% chance that you're going to die of something that you have no clue about. And the statistics are even alarming. You are people that go to the doctor's office. So these are not people that are can afford to go to the doctor, that are sick, that are whatever. The statistics say these are the people that go to have their physical exam every year, their wellness exam every year. When I shared with you last year that the biggest industry in the United States is hospitals, is hospitals. And this is one of the main funnels of the hospitals being in business. Because many times, and we'll get more into some more statistics, many times you'll go and they'll say, well, we don't know what's wrong. Take this pill, do this, let us know, go see your primary care physician. And they're funneling people in and out the emergency rooms, in and out the hospitals. And people are dying at an alarming rate of things that can be preventable. Some of you are the statistics of the data of the people that are on my YouTube channel are like mainly millennials. So you're like in your 30s, maybe early 40s for the most part. That's the largest group. You know what statistics say about you all? That you all are not going to make it to 50. How do these organizations know that? They're literally saying millennials are not going to make it to 50. How can you predict something like that? So when you see your parents, your grandparents living to 60, 70, 80, 90, y'all can look this up. I'm not making this up. The statistics are saying you guys are not going to make it to 50. How do they know that? Let's continue. I'm going to teach you some facts and I'm going to give you the understanding behind it. High blood pressure. High blood pressure is a silent alarm for your kidneys. Listen. People have come to me and they say, I have high blood pressure. What herb can I take? And I say, give me your numbers. I can list 5 people off the top of my head. Give me your numbers. And they give me their numbers. And I said, your kidneys are in distress. Your kidneys are in distress. It has nothing to do with your heart and your blood. Let me ask some of y'all in the chat because I want to know what y'all know. I want to know what y'all know. If you look on the screen, you see this high blood pressure monitor. Do you know the difference from the top number and the bottom number? Does anyone know the difference between the top number and the bottom number? What does the top number represent? What does the bottom number represent? No? You don't know. Be honest. You don't go Googling trying to figure it out. Be honest. Okay, systolic, diastolic, pressure relaxation. Okay. Beats per second. Yes. Okay. You just know the range. Of course you know the range, Jada, right? Every time you go to the doctor's office, before you see the doctor, don't they take your blood pressure? If you go to the hospital, before you go see a doctor, don't they take your blood pressure? Don't they put this thing in your arm and it pumps and your arm is, it's tight on your arm. They give you a number. Who has been taught what this number means. Listen, listen. Somebody tell me in the chat what they say the normal range is. If you have this range, you're good. You're good to go. Somebody tell me in the chat. What's the number? 120 over 80. Mm, mm, mm. 120 over 80. 120 over 80 and below. They just say it looks good, Shanta. Yes, everyone's saying 120 over 80, 120 over 80. All right, let's talk. I'm gonna talk. We're gonna talk some talk. Because y'all gonna know. So when next time you go into the doctor's office, you're gonna know. That top number is vital. The top number in the blood pressure reading is the systolic. It tells how much force your heart is using to pump blood. Right? How much force your heart is using to pump blood. Now, nurses know this. Most nurses know about this. Oh, yeah, I know about that. I'm a nurse. Oh, yeah, I read that somewhere. Wonderful. Here's what you don't know. Here's what you don't know. When that number is high, it puts massive strain on your kidneys. When that number is high, there's massive strain on your kidneys. That number, high blood pressure, is pointing to kidney stress or kidney disease. Y'all, when I tell you Spirit was showing me this over the past few months, and until I got it, and this is why I'm sharing it. This is why I'm sharing this with you all. That top number is pointing to kidney stress. Listen. Oh, your blood pressure is a little bit elevated. Your kidneys are stressed. Your blood pressure is constantly, well, this is normal for you. You may have chronic kidney disease and don't even know it. Now, here's the kicker. What did I tell y'all last year? I did a whole lesson on these herbal blends, right? From Aurora Blends. And I went into some science about numbers at the hospital. And I remember me being, I think I was in college, and I was like in the gym before there was a what is it called? A Planet Fitness or any of those places. The only gyms that they had were for athletes and bodybuilders. And I used to go to one because I used to weight train. And I remember I had a 4-pack, and I remember going to the doctor, and the doctor saying, "You're obese. You are obese." And I said, "I'm obese." I was like 180 pounds, 185, 190 pounds. I was fit. I could run for an hour, healthy. And according to this chart, I was unhealthy and obese. So what kind of freaking chart is that? And back then I started looking at what types of charts were these. And I shared this with you last year. The medical industry, everything is based off of a North European white male. Everything, all the testing, all the everything. So that 120 over 80 is for a North European white male that is an average of 150 pounds and height of 5'8". If you are that, then 120 over 80 is normal for you. But if you are not that, listen, There's no reason any doctor or hospital should be saying that this number is normal for you. Now it gets more specific because you have people from Asia that have different numbers. West Africa is different from South Africa when it comes to, um, y'all know I'm not politically correct, not trying to be, I'm gonna say Black people. Is different from Black Caribbean people, Black Indigenous people. Is different from Black Americans, Black Indigenous people, y'all. The numbers vary. And for this reason, we have alarming rates of sickness and disease and don't know where it's coming from. But yet you go to the doctor every year and you're normal. Your stuff is good. Everything's fine. Let me let me expose some more truth to y'all. So I took a journey on all of the organizations that promoted the health of kidneys or diabetes. So, like the American Kidney Fund, which is the largest kidney organization, or everyone knows American Diabetes Association, right? And they talked about healthy eating. They have happy people on their websites, live a wonderful life, donate to this organization, help people, da 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 da. It's wonderful, beautiful websites. We support the community. And Spirit said, look at their sponsors. And they have levels. The American Kidney Fund, look it up, y'all. They have levels of sponsorships. You can be silver, gold, platinum elite. So it's like, forget the silver nickel people. Let me see who the big dogs are, who's giving all the money to these organizations. Let's go to American Kidney Fund. The American Kidney Fund's largest donor is DaVita, DAVITA. Anyone that lives in any urban city, y'all know that name, DAVITA. You know what that place is? That's where people go for dialysis. That's right, dialysis center. The dialysis center is the American Kidney Fund's largest donor. Let me tell y'all something about business. When you have a private business, public business, like you're on the stock exchange, etc. You don't care about the customers that are buying your products. It is the shareholders. Let me give you an example. People right now in the US are boycotting Target because Target canceled DEI. We're not going to get into that conversation. That's not the point. Target really didn't care that Black people were boycotting Target until the quarterly numbers came out. And their stockholders lost a whole lot of money. And now, which is comical, they want to meet with Al Sharpton of all freaking people. Now it's a problem because the people that own stock in the company say, wait a second, they don't care about the customers. Listen, it's the people that are funding the business. You think because you buying whatever at Target, you funding Target? No, it's the people that bought stock in the company. That's who they answer to. So let me bring it back. The American Kidney Fund, do you think they care about the people that have kidney disease, or do you think about their biggest sponsors? DaVita, for those of you who don't know, has dialysis center. Dialysis centers make their money off of people that have failed kidneys. Remember, I told you the statistics. 1 out of 7 people, and out of that that group, 9 out of 10 of them don't even know. And out of that group, 60 to 70% of them are going to end up in those dialysis centers. And statistics are saying that the millennials and younger are going to end up there faster. This is what you call holy rage. American Diabetes Association, largest donor, Bayer. You know Bayer, the aspirin company? Whew, boy, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Medtronic. All of these are companies that sell the needles, the diabetes medication, all of that. Do y'all let me know in the chat if y'all following me. Type a 9 if you following me. So essentially, I'm paying you, American Kidney Fund and American Diabetes Association, all of them out there. I'm paying you to make sure that you send me customers. So you don't tell them the truth. You don't give them the statistics. They're not supposed to be healthy. I need them sick because that's how I make money. And I'm paying you to make me some money. Last time I was calling out medical organizations, my video got taken down for medical misinformation. And everything I'm telling you is statistics. You can look it up. We just don't have time. In the workshop, I'll provide you with all the statistics. In the workshop, we're going to go even deeper. When it comes to the statistics, I'm gonna speak specifically about Americans, Black and Indigenous people in America. And I'm saying Indigenous in America because I'll tell you this thing that set off my alarms. When I was pregnant with my second daughter, I was very large. My first daughter was 10 pounds. I was very large with my second daughter. And they wanted to test me for diabetes. And I said, I don't have diabetes. I said, I have big babies. It's hereditary in my family. My grandmother had 10-pound, 11-pound babies. Like, it's hereditary. And they said, well, unless you are indigenous, unless you're Indian, unless you're Indian, we have to test you. And I said, well, I am. I may not look it to you. You may not think that I look like I'm indigenous, but my grandmother sure as hell is. So I'm saying Black and Indigenous have extremely high rates of kidney failure. And it goes from 1 year, everything is fine. Next year, your kidneys are failing. Well, what the hell happened? Now, this is more specifically, we're leaning more towards Black Americans, okay? And I'm gonna say this, any Black person in the diaspora, and if you on this channel and you're not Black, don't say, well, this doesn't pertain to me. Educate yourself. There is a signal of something that starts failing that you are not being tested for. I know for a fact you're not being tested for because the kidneys don't just fail from all of a sudden they're failing. Your adrenals. So what do y'all know about your adrenals? Your adrenal gland. The adrenal glands in those, and especially again in those I would say those diasporic countries. So we're speaking about where people were displaced, put somewhere else, and live under constant fear for their lives. Their adrenals are failing. The adrenals affect the kidneys. So, Professor, this doesn't have to do with anything with me because I'm healthy and I go to the gym and I eat plant-based. You live in America? You drive down you driving down the street and you see police lights, nothing happens. You just like, oh, that's not for me. You get pulled over, there's nothing that like, even if you're not. There's trauma. Trauma affects the adrenals. living under stress, constant, constant, constant stress stresses the adrenals. Your adrenals are stressed. One day, boom, now the kidneys. And this is why you don't know. And we're not taught how to read. We're not, matter of fact, we're not even, we go have yearly blood work and think that's it. I don't know how many times people have said to me, they do their blood work, and I say, well, did they test for this? Did they test for this? Well, no. Next time you go, you tell them to test for these things, and they'll ask you, well, why? And you tell them, because I have the right to have these things tested for. And they'll give you pushback, but you're the patient. At the end of the day, I pay your bill. If you don't want to do it, I'll go to another doctor. But there's tests. We don't, who gets tested there? Whose adrenals get tested for? Certainly not you, because it's in your best interest for them to fail. Let's continue. I'm gonna go more into this, more into adrenals in the workshop. But let me continue. I've been in the slide for a minute, y'all. I'm trying to keep it organized. Another thing that is taught is, well, drink more water. Your blood sugar is slightly elevated. Drink some more water. That will help. If you drink more water, it'll filter your kidneys. You know why you're having kidney issues? Because you're dehydrated. You're dehydrated. So drink more water. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Dehydration is not about drinking enough water. Matter of fact, it's arguable that it's not about drinking water at all. It's about whether your body can absorb it. Everyone that was in the parasite detox, what did I tell y'all about water? What did I tell y'all about the water that you drink? I said, don't just be drinking plain water. That's right. Spirit Doodle, add salt. Add a little salt to it. That's right, Doris. Add a little salt to it. The water you buy in the bottles is trash. I don't care if it's in a blue bottle named Saratoga or it's in a bottle named Avion. I don't care. It's trash. It's not hydrating you. The easiest thing you can do is add some quality, not the salt with the blue, the little girl with the umbrella, not the one your mom and them used to use, not Blue Morton or whatever it's called. Not that one. High quality salt. This water doesn't have any minerals, so you can drink a gallon of it. Matter of fact, you can drink a gallon of it and you can drown. You can drown by drinking too much water because your body doesn't absorb it and it can't move through your body fast enough. It's like toxins and your body doesn't know what to do with it. And so you can drown by drinking water. I see it in the gym all the time. These guys that have the big gallon of water. Oh, I'm hydrating myself. And I'm like, you are destroying your kidneys. And you know what's ironic? A lot of bodybuilders have kidney disease, liver disease, you name it. So it's not about whether you're drinking enough water, it's about whether your body can absorb it. And if your adrenals are depleted, which listen, it is, your adrenals are taking a hit every single day. I don't think anyone on this channel is living this American dream, white picket fence, just happy go lucky, just really like, oh my gosh, this everything is just so amazing. You all are spiritual. So we see the truth. And this shit can be stressful. Like this reality is something else. So your adrenals are taking a hit, y'all. Do you understand? Let me get back. If your minerals are off, water will pass through without truly hydrating your cells. So people that are drinking all day are still feeling tired, foggy, drowsy, still with the kidney issues. Again, you don't need to drink more water. You need to absorb it. And we'll talk more about this during the workshop. Let's continue. So let's talk about these drugs: ibuprofen, naproxen, and aspirin. They damage kidney tissue over time. Y'all know this though, right? Y'all know this. These over-the-counter drugs, they're not really drugs, right? It's a Tylenol. It's an aspirin, right? Anybody know what doctors tell you? Like if you have any heart issues, what do they tell you to take every single day? What do they tell you to take every day? Oh, wait, maybe some of y'all know. I know because my parents, doctor told my parent this. Yeah, take a little aspirin every day. Take a little baby aspirin every day. Let's rewind. Remember when I told you the number one sponsor of the American Diabetes Association? Well, not one of them, the top sponsors. What is the name of the company of the top sponsors? What's the name of that company of the? That's right, Juliet. Bayer. Huh? Bayer. Listen. Aspirin is going to damage your kidney tissue over time. But damn, then why would the American Diabetes Association have the number one aspirin maker in the country as their sponsor? If by taking their product, their number one product, is going to damage kidneys, but they're trying to help people with kidney disease, right? These systems are falling apart. You know they're falling apart? Because truth is being revealed left and right. Ibuprofen, Motrin, naproxen, these damage your kidneys. If you take them, you have to get them out of your body. Your body, the kidneys cannot properly filter them, and so they stay in your body, causing damage to the very tissue. The kidneys are soft tissue, y'all. They cause damage to soft tissue. Antibiotics, acid blockers, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications. All these young people, Gen Zs, and I have anxiety, I have anxiety. Here's a pill, here's a pill, here's a pill. This is why they know. This is why they can say the statistic is that they're not going to live past 50 because we're poisoning them. Real talk. We know that they damage the liver. We don't understand how they damage the kidneys. These substances cannot pass through. They cannot pass through to be released out of the body. So they accumulate. They accumulate over time and they start to crystallize. And the crystals, literally like little crystals, they're like hard pieces of like rock. And they start cutting away at the tissue and breaking the tissue down, damaging the tissue. It is normalized for us to be on prescriptions. And I'm saying us, modern society, it's normal. You want to know how normal it is? I was like, let me do something. Let me just general research. I went on Amazon and I looked up pill cases, pill boxes. Over 100,000 pill boxes. You need pill boxes? And don't say, well, it's for my supplements. Because that's a whole nother situation. And I spoke about supplements. 80% of them out there that say what they see on the bottle is not what's inside the bottle. But this is a huge industry. Pill cases, pill boxes. because it's normalized for people to have a this pill and a heart pill and a this pill and a that pill and that pill and all these pills. Being sick is normalized. What? Oh my gosh, you're 50, you don't take any medication? Wow. No, it should be like you're 50 and you're taking medication? Wow. Let's continue. Because there's a reason why diabetes, talk about diabetes for a second. There's a reason why it has become so widespread. So now we talk about diabetes. Now let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. We're connecting it to antibiotics. How many times have you been prescribed an antibiotic? You have this, you have a that. Take an antibiotic. My daughter was telling me a few years ago, a friend of hers had a UTI. They gave her antibiotic, and she said, "Girl, if you don't get you some cranberry juice, don't take that. It's wearing down the kidneys." There's a connection between this and diabetes. And we'll go into more of the systems during the workshop. Okay. So let's talk about Dr. John Yudkin. Y'all can look him up. Yudkin. He was a doctor in the 1960s. He was blacklisted. He was ridiculed by the science organizations, by the medical community. He was called a fool. Nobody would speak with him. He was abused, just like Tesla was, just like many of our doctors were, just like Sadie. And he wrote a book called Pure, White, and Deadly. I don't know if you heard about it. He wrote this book and it turned industries on their head. In this book, he said that refined sugar is the main cause of disease. Anything white, pure, white, and deadly, anything refined, anything processed, we're talking about white, white sugar, white bread, white rice, white. He didn't have the technology we have now to back it up, but he said this back then. And he was abused by the industry because at this time, the industry was promoting white sugar. I grew up in the 80s and there was frosted flakes and frosted this, and we would eat cereal, cornflakes, and put a spoon of sugar on it because that's what they did in the commercials. At the time, doctors were saying that, well, it's fat, eating fat, that caused kidney disease. And he said, nah, it's the processed stuff. It's the white stuff. Matter of fact, it causes issues with the heart. No. This can't cause issues with the heart. It's the fat. Okay? Eat fat free, high sugar. When you go to the store the next time and pick up something that says fat free and look at how much sugar is in it. To this day, the industry is still ignoring this research. But something flip happened, something really bad happened. Because this whole advent of I have diabetes is sugar, I have sugars. You heard your grandparents, I got the sugars. She got sugar, got sugar, sugar. And we started associating diabetes with sugar. That's not what he said. His book was called Pure, White, and Deadly. Let's talk about sugar. Any one of y'all grew up in the Caribbean or maybe went there, I would say mainly grew up there or have family from there, there's a treat that all kids love to eat. Mm-mm-mm. It is so good. And we chomp on it and it's good and it keeps our teeth clean too. And it's called sugar cane. Someone close to me went to the doctor. They're in their 70s last year, and the doctor said your sugar is high. The doctor said your sugar is high. What the hell? Your sugar is high? It's not even a thing. You have to stop eating fruit. I said, hold up, hold up, hold up. That cannot be because there are millions of people that live on islands, not just in the Caribbean, but in Indonesia and Asia and islands that chomp on sugarcane every day. And they don't have diabetes. They don't have the sugars. And these same people eat sugary fruit every day, like eat fruit every day. Mangoes and papayas and fruit and any tamarind and the sweetest fruit. And they don't have diabetes. I remember when my father told me when he first came to the US and he had to go in for a physical and he was confused. Like, why do I have to go to the doctor? I'm not sick. And he went into the doctor's office and there were so many people there and they were screening him. He was like, I'm healthy, nothing's wrong with me. And it was the first time he heard about this thing called cancer. And he had no idea what this cancer thing was. And I said, Daddy, what are you talking about? You know what cancer was? He said, No, we didn't have cancer. We didn't have diabetes. We didn't have none of these things growing up. I said, nobody was sick. He was like, no. He said, the only thing we had was rheumatoid, which is arthritis. And that's because the people were working with the hands, like the seamstress or whoever, they would have rheumatoid in their hands, but not diabetes. Now, you telling me that these people that literally harvest, that chew on sugar cane, that eat fruit like all day, y'all, the fruit is in everything. There's literally do not have diabetes. There's literally this dessert called sugar cake and don't have diabetes. It's the refined, it is the processed. So what happened is that we've been conditioned to fear fruit. Doctors will literally say you're eating too much fruit. This is why your blood sugar is high. Blood sugar is not even a technical term, but we relate it to that. But it's okay that we have rice. It's okay that we have white bread. It's okay that we have other processed foods. Matter of fact, they promote it. Again, we're talking about these American Diabetes Association that have their signature and sign on some of the sugar-free items in the store. Sugar-free processed snacks. Y'all, processed food stamped by the American Diabetes Association. The truth, and this has been over the past few years, more and more research is coming out, is showing that it is in fact meat and dairy that is causing diabetes. Meat and dairy that is causing kidney disease. Why? Because these foods are acidic. And when you eat something that's acidic, it causes inflammation. Y'all that were in the parasite detox, what did we say about inflammation? What did we say about inflammation? Take a sip of some of my salty water. Inflammation, which is the root cause of disease. We talked about the parasites. The parasites feed off of the acidic foods in your body. And I can go into that. I did a brief YouTube video on that. You can watch that. Acid and inflammation, and what corporate food has done to our health, to our kidneys, is to slowly destroy them. So, diabetes is not just about sugar, it's about acidity and inflammation. Again, parasites feed off of acids. The parasites causes the cells to be inflamed. The inflammation causes disease. It's a vicious cycle. Processed meats, dairy, fried foods, and chemical additives create an acidic environment that overworks the kidneys and the pancreas. Natural sugar, and y'all, I'm not talking about going to the store and getting sugar in the raw. You have never had natural sugar unless you've had natural sugar. It's not that pleasant once it gets processed. You know what happens when you process sugar? It literally, there's levels to it. At the bottom of it, after you squeeze all the sugar out and you let it sit, is this black tar stuff that's not that pleasant. That's called molasses. And the molasses has all the minerals in it. Okay, people don't really enjoy eating molasses. And then you have the levels of brown sugars until you get the white sugar. And then there's another process where you get the rum. That's another conversation. But it's not the natural sugars or the fructose. Again, natural sugar has fiber, it has water, it has nutrients, the nutrients that we need, the minerals that we need in our body. Refined sugar has none of that. But we've been conditioned to blame the sweet fruit while ignoring the acidic meals. And the thing is, your body knows the difference. Your body knows the difference. You just don't know. It's not your fault. You haven't been taught it. Your spirit also knows the difference. Now let's talk about this for a moment. Now we're going to get to the spiritual stuff. Again, I'm not going to go too deep, but I just wanted to share this with as many people as I could. The kidneys are an emotional organ. They store fear, silence, and ancestral memory. 100% fact. And we're going to talk about that. Fear, silence, and ancestral memory. The fear that the kidneys store literally is fear of survival. And again, we talked about this in relation to the adrenals, especially like I don't know how it is living in other countries. Well, I say that. I do know how it is living in other countries. I will say this. When I went to France, I remember walking down the street. I was literally in Bastille. It's an area called the Bastille. And I was walking down the street and I was looking for the grocery store market, whatever. And I didn't know where it was. And I'm walking down the street and there was a man on the corner with a big old rifle. I knew he was a police officer. And as I'm walking towards him, I could feel my heart racing. And he's staring at me and I'm like almost hyperventilating. And when I got to him, he said something to me and I froze and I forgot all the French that I knew. And he noticed that I didn't respond. So then he spoke in English. He said, "Do you speak English?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, oui, yeah. And so he said, "Are you lost?" And I said, "I'm looking for the store." And he said, "Oh, no." And he was directing me to get to the store. That was the first time that I realized the trauma the stress that I had living in this country. Because just by seeing a police officer and the big gun, my heart raced. I started sweating. I was nervous. And many of you are living under this. Is this survive? We're trying to constantly, how do I survive? How do I survive? And you don't realize that it's a thing. I have a friend that is from Memphis, and he shared with me, he moved from Memphis to Texas. And he said he didn't realize the type of stress that he's in. If you're in Memphis, you can attest to this. Or if you're from there, right now it's like it's open carry. And there's like guns, Memphis, Detroit, like all the time, just gunshots. Like it's like a war zone. And he didn't realize until he moved to Texas that he was living under stress every single day. Your kidneys store this, y'all. We talked about the adrenals. And again, we're not going to get too deep into this, but we're talking about cortisol and how it affects the adrenals, but that these are connected to the kidneys. Your kidneys also hold ancestral grief. Mm, 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 mm. Well, how do I find out what my ancestral grief is? You don't have to look far. It literally is called generational trauma. It doesn't have to be something obvious. And if you have children, you have traumatized them, and I promise you, it's probably something that your parent has traumatized you with, and it doesn't have to be something bad. It could be something good that you perceive as good. Generational trauma could be your great grandparent was a doctor, and so the grandparent was a doctor, and the parent was a doctor, and your parents are stressing you out because you're not getting all A's because you have to be a doctor. That could be generational trauma. What if you want to be a street cleaner? I like seeing clean streets. I like cleaning the energy in the streets. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be a doctor. Now you're under stress. That can be generational trauma. Do you understand? It's not something that is as obvious and apparent as we think. We think trauma is something that looks traumatic or feels traumatic. The kidneys hold on to tension of needing to stay strong. The kidneys is, I gotta stay strong. I gotta get through this. I know this is hard, but I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna do what I have to do and fake it till I make it. Just smile. Your kidneys remember the things that you can't say, that you couldn't say, that you don't know how to release, and they're holding on to it. I'm not going to even get into chakras. We'll do that during the workshop because if you were in SAU, we learned about chakras. And if you learned about chakras, you know the correlation between the kidneys and the sacral chakra. Listen. Your kidneys hold the energetic imprint. Listen to this. Your kidneys hold the energetic imprint of childhood experiences. Listen, listen. Particularly ones where you weren't in control of your own bodies. I can only say but so much on YouTube, but I think you understand what I'm saying. When a child does not have control of their own body, when an adult is allowed to be in control of a child's body, and I'm not talking about a parent telling the child to go to sleep. I'm talking about someone having control over a child's body that has no right, no right, no right. The kidneys remember and they hold on to that trauma. The statistics of people with chronic kidney disease and childhood trauma where they did not have control over their physical bodies. Y'all can say in the chat, I'm not going to say it, is astounding. But I ate healthy. How is this possible? Because there was an adult that had no right. When I say truth is truth, oh, I prompt this week's alignment letter. The topic was um the body remembers, the spirit reclaims. The energetic, oh my goodness, the energy of this week was the body remembers, the spirit reclaims. That's the topic of this week's alignment letter. The alignment letter is a weekly email that I sent out to keep us aligned with what's happening energetically, spiritually, and what's happening energetically, cosmically, so that we can be focused on being on our spiritual path while the system in this world is falling apart. And the topic was the body remembers, the spirit reclaims. Thank you, Mama G. That's it. She typed it in the chat. Thank you. Even if you forget, even if you try to forget, even if you say you forgave, or I understand why, your body remembers. There's spiritual work that has to be done. I just had to take a pause on that. Because there's too many correlations with, again, I'm speaking of, I'm Gen X, so I'm speaking of millennials and younger. There's too much correlation with this trauma, whether it happened to you or you saw it watching Disney Channel, Nickelodeon. Look at all these child stars, what they said they went to, and you sitting there watching it. Your parents don't know, and you're absorbing all of this stuff, and it's affecting you. And again, I'm gonna go to this. When the medical industry says that most of y'all won't make it to 50, let's continue. I told you I'm gonna stay. Yes, White Islands. Mm. Yes, I'm infinite being. The body keeps a score. Absolutely. Let's continue. When the kidneys go into survival mode, the heart begins to shut down. Mm, 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 mm. When the kidney goes into survival mode, the heart begins to shut down. Let's go back to the science, because what do I say? Spirituality and science are one and the same. If you are speaking truth in spirituality, the science is always going to back you up. So we started in the beginning with the science. And I gave you the number of the blood pressure. And I said we have the systolic number. And the systolic number speaks on how the heart pumps blood, right? But I said it also shows how much pressure is on the kidney. Now read this. When the kidney goes into survival mode, We talked about the kidney, we talked about trauma, we talked about the adrenals. The heart begins to shut down. Is that not correct? Is that not what happens when we have high blood pressure? High blood pressure, pressure on our hearts. Yes, this is medical. This is science. But our physical bodies are vessels. Our physical bodies are vessels. Our spirit, our soul sit in these vessels. And if these vessels have anything that is not aligned with our soul, with our spirit, with who we truly are, then there's a disconnect. There is a problem. And we can't ignore it. I'm speaking to you, spiritual beings. Some of you may be on here for the health aspect. I'm speaking to the soul family. When the kidneys go into survival mode, the heart begins to shut down. I gave this the statistic of 1 out of 7 of you, but I don't know how many people on you are in the United States, part of the diaspora, and are a colored person. Or I said colored. Y'all know what I mean. Because I already told you that your adrenals are affected. So if your adrenals are affected, your kidneys are affected. And if your kidneys are affected, your heart is affected. And we're speaking of the physical heart and we're speaking of the spiritual heart. We're talking about the heart chakra. Listen. Feel free, for those of you who are taking notes or you want to grab your pen, feel free to write this down. When your kidneys are in survival mode, your heart begins to close. That is a science. We're also speaking about it spiritually. Spiritually, that means the flow of joy, love, and connection is blocked. It's like your body goes into lockdown. What did I teach you a couple of months ago about the heart being magnetic and the brain being electric, and that there's a circuit that needs to be connected? We spoke about this in SAU Collective. But when your heart is not activated, you can try and try all you want. The circuit is not complete. The connection is blocked. And it's like the body goes into lockdown. And some people feel this as numbness, apathy. You don't feel rested no matter what you do. You're on your spiritual path and you just lost. And like I can't connect. And my spirit team's not speaking to me. And I keep going back and forth. One moment I'm feeling good, the next moment I'm not. And I can't stay consistent on my path. The sacral chakra is your center of creativity. Say it again. The sacral chakra is your center of creativity. And your body is where you create. Literally, the sacral chakra is connected to the reproductive organs. This is where we create life. Yes? We all agree with that, right? But energetically, it is the center of your creativity in your body of creation. Listen, listen. And if you can't create, you can't manifest. Listen to me. If you can't create, you can't manifest. People wonder why they are stuck. I'm doing this ritual and I'm doing this and I'm saying these words, I'm saying this affirmation and nothing's happening. I want to manifest this house and it's not working. And I'm trying to manifest, it is not working. If it was that easy to just manifest, everybody would, because I swear manifest is like this key word that everyone is saying. Like it's everywhere. Everyone's using the word manifest and no one really understands what it means or what the root of it. But if you can't create, you can't manifest. You can't birth anything. You hear me? You can't birth anything new. This is one of the reasons why you're stuck on your spiritual path, why your spiritual work is not going anywhere, y'all. Well, the manifestation isn't working. I'm not doing a spiritual work anymore. This don't work. That stuff is fake. I'm gonna go back to whatever I went back to before, like that was working. I can almost guarantee it's because your kidneys are under stress. Like for real. Let me know in the chat. I'm gonna take a moment just to do a check-in with all of you. How y'all doing? Does this resonate? Is this clicking? Are you getting it? Are you learning something new? Type a 9 in the chat. 9 is a number of transformation. My goal every time I speak or teach is to transform something within you. Let me know. Drop a 9 in the chat. Thank you. Let's continue. So we have this vicious loop. We have this vicious loop in the body, this feedback loop. The kidney stress leads to emotional shutdown. Emotional shutdown leads to more physical stress. Physical stress leads to emotional shutdown. Emotional shutdown leads to physical stress. And around we go. People call it burnout. People call it fatigue. They call it chronic stress, depression. People say they're not inspired. They're not in spirit. They can't connect because we're talking about the heart and we're talking about your seat of creation. In order to really be effective on the spiritual path, you have to see what is unseen and move in that direction. Follow your promptings. The promptings are not something that's already there. It's having a prompting to do something, not knowing what's there. And you're creating as you're going. You're creating as you're moving. Do you understand that? What were we working on the last 2 months before we had this major shift? I said, what is the vision? What is the thing that spirit showed you that you're supposed to be doing? You have the end result. You have the goal. Everything from where you are to there is creation. On this journey, you're creating the path as you go to get to that place. But we get stagnated when we're in this loop. And your body says, I can't take it anymore. Your physical body literally says, I can't do this anymore. And your blood pressure is up and your kidneys start to fail. And that now you have a 70%. People with chronic kidney disease have a 70%, it's like imminent death. This was a number, maybe it's changed now. I had someone very close to me that was put on dialysis. And at the time, a nurse said, at max, he has 5 years to live. I said, what do you mean? People don't live more than 5 years. You can't live more than 5 years in dialysis. We can't just keep recycling the blood, the fluids. So what's the solution? Well, a kidney transplant, but they have to get on the list and it's almost impossible. But can you pay for it? Can someone donate it? Well, they have to be a perfect match. And even then, they may not be able to get it because someone else may need it more than that person. What? Not because of sugar, y'all. It's not because of sugar. Someone close to me, literally, they ate a meal, went to the hospital, never came out. And their last meal, I promise you, was a hot dog without the bun, so processed meat, and a beer, something very acidic. There's no sugar in any of that. And they shot their kidneys and never came out. Their organs just started shutting down one by one by one. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget. He called me on the phone. I said, "What are you doing?" He's, "Oh, I'm in the hospital. They have me in the hallway because it's overcrowded here. I'm gonna go to another hospital." He was in Brooklyn. "I'm gonna go to this other hospital in Staten Island. It's much nicer out there. It's a Jewish hospital." And I said, "Why? What did you do?" "I had a hot dog." "So you can't be eating hot dogs." "I didn't have the bun." "What else you had?" "I had a beer." I'll never forget that. Totally 100% preventable. Let's continue. It runs in my family. How many of you have heard that? "Well, diabetes runs in my family." It runs in my family. My mama had it, my grandma had it, my sister had it, everybody has diabetes. It runs in my family. Let me know if anybody has ever heard that or how many of y'all have said that before, that it runs in your family. 'Cause I've heard it way too many times from people. Someone told me the other day that something ran in their family. Literally, they told me that liver disease runs in their family. I said, "Oh, I know I know what your generational family trauma is." Stella Joy, you hear it all the time. Phoenix Night, you hear it a lot. Zena, you said, "Yep." Jersey Dread heard it. Many people say diabetes runs in my family, or they may have heard of it. But what if what really runs in the family is trauma, fear, pressure, suppression? When we heal that spiritually and energetically, we begin to interrupt the pattern that eventually manifests as disease. When you heal that thing, that fear, that pressure, the suppression, stuff happens in families that nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about that uncle, that aunt, that grand. It's a whole secret. You think your children not going to feel that? I recently, last 2 weeks ago, unlocked the trauma from my great grandmother that I had to go in the spiritual realm to find out about, and then verified it. Like, what? Nobody, this is why I do this. This is why this has happened. And if I didn't break it, it would have happened to my daughters. And so I had to have a conversation with my daughters and say, mommy did A, B, C, D. And I didn't even realize that it was from this great grandparent. But it stops now. Y'all, this isn't just about food, it's about frequency. If you felt tired, foggy, stressed, stuck, weighed down, this is the moment. You get to make a choice. You must make a change. And it brought me back to this. This is why. Thank you. I always tell you, if you know me, if you've been part of SAU, if you know me for a while, my kids know mommy will pivot in a minute. I I was in France. Spirit said, leave France. Now you got to move to Costa Rica. I said, move to Costa Rica. Now we got to move to South America. We got to move to Colombia. Oh, we're in Colombia. Now we got to move back. I follow my spirit so much because I trust that to the T. So when spirit said, you're going to do these detoxes again, and I was like, whew, this is no joke. Group detoxes are no joke. I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And when I was told about the kidney one, and like I don't know, I don't know. I've been helping people with kidney disease. Again, it's something very, very close to my heart. I've had people very close to me have physical death because of this. So when I tell you something close to me, it is close to me. When I tell you that my husband was diagnosed with diabetes at 28 years old, and I helped him reverse it in less than 3 months. Me tapping into my ancestral knowledge. We're going to take this herb. We're going to eat like this. We're going to do this. Reversed it. And I look back on the people that have physical deaths, have transitioned, and I see the connection. I'm like, this for what? Now, granted, your time is your time, but damn. As someone very close to me transitioned really young, really like really young, make no sense. And the thing is, I told them a year before, I said, look, um, I told them, check this. And I was like, something's not right with you. And I said, and I pointed to a specific thing. I said, it's not right with you. Check this, look into this. And they said, my doctor said I'm fine. I said, no. And I'm shaking. And I'm saying, you don't feel the ground shaking. Literally, they're shaking because I can feel their energy, feel like, oh my gosh, this is not good. I said, please. I even said, you got to get out of this house. This is not good. And less than a year later, they died flat out. And immediately when I heard the news, I said, it's because of this. Boom. I knew exactly what it was. They were healthy. Matter of fact, I'll share some. Everyone said, well, it must be diabetes. And I said, no, it was the heart. Spirit told me it was the heart. A year before, the heart is affected. Well, they used to have diabetes, but they didn't have it anymore because they were working out, they lost weight, they were healthy, they were looking good, they were living their best life, like for real. Best life, nice car, like just living their best life, wonderful job, all that. And I said, nope, it's the heart. Because they were so young, the police thought it was like someone was after them because the person was completely healthy. 4 months later, the autopsy report came back in. It was a heart. And I said, there's a connection with the heart and the kidneys. I knew it. So I'm sharing that because this is something that I'm passionate about. And when Spirit said to do this detox, and this is the reason why I'm here tonight, because the reason why I'm here literally is I was doing research for the workshop and I said, well, everyone needs to know some of this stuff. We can't go too deep. Workshops are more intense than this. But I wanted you to really have this understanding. If I was on here talking about some gossip or I don't know, whatever's happening in the news, This room would have 1,000, 2,000 people wanting to hear the latest whatever. If I were to say, I can help you manifest $1 million tomorrow, this room would be packed with people. Maybe one person would manifest $1 million. But we're talking about subjects like this that has to do with your physical vessel. Oh, that doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect you until I get the emails or until Makeda gets the emails. This person, I promise you, the emails come in. My father, mother, sister, brother, me, we're at end stage renal disease, or we have this issue or that issue. Can you help? And it's like, damn, if only you knew ahead of time. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm not on the camera. This is why I'm sharing the statistics with you all. And this is why I have the kidney detox. It's not a cleanse. It's not one of those things. If you Google or you go on Amazon, I love going to Amazon to look up stuff to see what people are doing. I looked up kidney detox and I saw kidney cleanse. And all it is are a bunch of diuretics. What did I tell y'all about that? Urinating is not it. Well, I can take this herb. Be careful because there's some herbs out there that can cause more damage. This particular detox, I literally there's a cap of how many people can be in it because this is serious. It's not like parasite. This is an actual organ. And so there's care that has to be taken when it comes to this. Even the herbs that were chosen for this detox, there was a lot of care and concern and research. Me going back and forth with Makeda from Aurora Blends about, well, we got to use this herb and not this herb. We can't use this because this is too bitter, or this is people are gonna vomit with this, or they're gonna have this reaction. Well, how can we get people to truly detox in a way that is easy on their body but actually effective? And so I created this detox, but more importantly, I wanted to give y'all this knowledge, this information. I'm closing by saying you were never meant to carry all this. You were never meant to carry all this. You don't have to do any of this alone. The amount of people that I have to tell this to repeatedly, you don't have to do this alone. There are people that I've had students that became ex-students that came back, and it's all love. You don't have to do this alone. There's support, there's help, there's information, there's truth. On this path, as a spiritual being, your eyes are going to be awakened to so much truth. And also is going to be blinded by so many lies as the system is breaking down and they're trying to catch up. It is up to you, and no one can do this but you, to follow as you're being guided spiritually, not how you're being guided emotionally, not because you're mad about something or you hurt or upset and you're projecting. Get out of your feelings when it comes to that. Those are trauma. That's trauma. What is the truth of it? You're going to have to make decisions. And your physical body will fight you every step of the way because your physical body is invested in this reality. It was born here. It likes it. It likes, I don't know, cheesecake. Somebody's thinking about cheesecake because it likes whatever it likes. It wants to do whatever it wants to do. but not the spiritual work. And what do I tell you? You have to subdue the physical body. You have to say, this is what we're doing. I'm doing my job. I'm following my prompting. My prompting was create this detox program, get give people the information, get their physical bodies where they need to be because of what's coming. Do I know exactly what's coming down the line? Not exactly. What I do know is that the system is breaking down. What I do know is that what I do know is that there's a chain that's being broken of fruit and vegetables being imported into the United States. My neighbor told me I'm growing tomatoes in my yard, right? And he said, "Oh, you're about to be rich off the tomatoes." And I said, "Be rich?" He said, "Yeah, you can sell them to all the neighbors." And I said, "Why would I do that?" He said, "Don't you know most tomatoes in the US come from China?" I said, "That's not true." He said, "Yes, it is." He said, "The price of tomatoes are going to skyrocket." I said, "What?" I eat tomatoes for my heart. Listen, I eat tomatoes for my kidneys. Look at let me go back. Let me show you what your kidneys look like. And you tell me if it doesn't look like the inside of a tomato. Let me go back. Let's go back. Look at this. These are your kidneys. What does that look like the inside of? Truth is truth, y'all. So I don't know what's coming down the pipe. All I know is that Spirit said, get your physical body together. What I do know is that a lot of you are going to be called into doing deep spiritual work. And in order to do deep spiritual work, I'm telling y'all, your physical body has to be aligned with it. If your deep spiritual work is you got to fast for 5 days and you having sugar cravings because you got parasites running rampant, or you're having in crisis because your kidneys, you're not filtering enough. So with that said, yes, Robin, you said yes. It's like no one wants to research. I don't, you know what? I agree with that, Robin. And I also want to add this to it. I also know that people don't know how to research because we haven't been taught. When I was getting my doctorate, there was a class and we learned how to research. Now, mind you, I already had a master's. I knew how to research, but there's levels to research. There's levels. You take a class called quantitative methods and qualitative methods. And I swear the only purpose of those classes was for you to learn all levels of research when it comes to numerical research, researching numbers, or researching numbers and data, or researching information data, right? So the truth is most people don't know how to research, right? And so they think their research is, going on YouTube or watching someone talk about something. And I always say, listen, be mindful of people, be mindful of the tellers. If someone is just telling you information, but they can't share where they got it from or they can't break it down. Science is so easy, but if it's made complicated, then you may be listening to a teller. They don't know, really understand it. They're just regurgitating information. Be careful because you should never have a teller being your teacher, because a teacher has a true teacher, like that's their gift. They have they are invested in you spiritually. They want to make sure that you actually learn the thing, because if not, they take that back with them spiritually, like they didn't do their job. So you want to make sure you have people that are actually teaching you, and a teacher's going to make sure you understand it, and they're going to teach it to you in a way that is easy to understand. I would say a good teacher can teach a 5-year-old as well as they can teach a 90-year-old in the same classroom. And so that's a thing that we're facing. My daughter sent me this video about this guy, and it was hilarious because he's like, someone said, don't eat sugar, so he gets rid of sugar. Don't eat meat, he gets rid of meat. Well, don't eat broccoli, so he gets rid of broccoli. Well, don't eat this. So he's getting rid of everything. And he's like, well, damn, I'll just drink water. Well, don't drink the water. The water is poisonous too. So he's like, well, what do I do? You should have the right to make your own decisions spiritually based on true data. If I give you the truth behind it, whether it's physical, science based truth or spiritual truth, then your spirit is going to resonate with something. Resonance is an energy frequency that is equal to something else. Do you understand? So your spirit says, I resonate with that, which means I agree with that. The frequency is the same on this. So this is what I'm going to do. All right. So with that said, here's what I'm going to do. If you have questions um, about the kidney detox, let's say, I don't know if this is for me, should I do this, or you're just unsure, or in general, leave it in the chat below. If you're watching a replay, leave it in the chat below. And if there are enough questions, what I will do is maybe not next week. I'll do a Q&A. Well, I will answer your questions because I know some people came on here late. Maybe there was some things that wasn't clear. And again, my job is to make sure you have clarification. Okay. So if you have questions, leave it in the not the chat, the comment section below. And I will do a Q&A. I'll gather some of the more common questions and I will maybe like in the next 2 weeks, and I'll come back on here and do a Q&A in the next 2 weeks. Okay. And since you said it's Friday, the last day to register for it. Okay. So I apologize. I gave you guys no information about the kidney detox. The kidney detox, the official start date is the 17th. That's day one. But I always do a workshop before, and the workshop is May 9th. The first day you're taking your first tea is the 17th of May. The first workshop is May 9th. The course portal and the chat room opens up May 1st. So this Friday is not the last day to register for it. I would say register as soon as possible. Do not wait till last minute. We're going to stop at a certain number, literally. And so we are close to that number already because we have people that pre-registered from the parasite detox. So if you're interested, go ahead and register. It is 3 weeks, 10 days, excuse me, but you have support for the entire month. So there's a pre-phase, there's a pre-phase, and there's a post-integration. There's 5 workshops throughout where you're going to learn what to do. You're going to learn about, the kidneys, everything I taught here, we're going to go deeper, okay, in the workshop. And then we have an integration phase, and it is herb-based, herb and root-based. And we have some amazing herbs that some that you have never heard of before. And they've been coming in fresh. And so Aurora Blends, I think the link is below. Aurora Blends is preparing that, fulfilling that, all of that information. You're going to get a pamphlet with instructions. Again, there's a chat room where you get to share, ask questions. There's affirmations. There's just so much support. So you're not going to go through this without questions, because I know too many people do things. You go in a grocery store, you look on a shelf, and there's, kidney detox tea, and who do you ask questions for help? Again, there's herbs that you can Google what herbs are good for kidney detox, and there's a couple of herbs that, again, beware, because there's a couple of herbs that people can take that can actually cause more damage, more harm than good. And so Makeda's going to be there. She's the herb mixologist. As much as I know about herbs, she knows way more And so she's going to be there to teach you about the herbs. And then anyone who has any sensitivities, we always do alternate uh, blends. So will the cleanse help lower blood sugar as well? Blood sugar. I'm gonna train you not to say blood sugar anymore after the workshop. But yes, yes. The herbs in there. There are 3 phases of herbs. So detoxes should have 3 phases. You should never parasite detox, liver detox. It should not be, oh, I'm gonna take this thing and then I'm done. That is dangerous, and it's not gonna it's not gonna help you. Okay, it'll temporarily help you, but not long term. So there are 3 phases to this. The herbs in the first phase do one thing, the herbs in the second phase do another, and the herbs in the third phase do another. So yes, there are herbs there that lower blood sugar levels. Okay. This overlaps the herbal mixology course. Is it okay to do both? Yeah, there are people doing both. The herbal mixology course is something different. So you're not taking the herbs. You're learning how to blend herbs. You're learning how to mix herbs, how to use them, all the herbs you have sitting in your cabinet. Okay. She's going to teach you how to she's brilliant with herbs. Okay. You can make pesto sauces, you can make cakes. Like you can actually use your herbs in many healthy ways. And she's going to teach you some herbs should not be boiled, some should not be heated. How do you blend them for efficacy and also so that they taste good? So there's a science behind it, right? Like you wouldn't go to a bar. I don't know if anyone drinks, like there's certain formulas to making certain drinks, right? You can taste when something's off. We don't know because we're not used to drinking tea, so we don't know if something's off. You just like, oh, I guess this tea should taste like this, right? I was saying this years ago because there was a herb that I used to sell, and mugwort. Was it mugwort? Mugwort. No, mullein. And mullein should be bright, like light green sage. And someone else said, I bought this mullein from somewhere else. Is this correct? And it was like brown. And I said, that mullein is a year or more older, and you should not take it because it probably has mold spores. But how do you know? Right? And so you don't know if you're not taught this information. And so the purpose of this class really is to teach you, number one, about herbs, the different types of herbs, how to use them, and how to utilize the ones that you have for not just for to drink, put in your hair, on your body, just for everything. Herbs are information, and they're information for your cells, and they're here to help you vibrate higher. Literally, that's what they do. So yes, you can do the herb mixology course. I highly recommend it. There is no other course like this that exists anywhere on this planet. This is what this is her soul mission, literally, what she was put here to do. And she loves teaching about it. Okay. If someone is in blood thinners, can they do this cleanse? So here's what I have to say. You have to go see your medical professional first and ask them. One thing about us is we're very transparent with our ingredients. So if you go to the website, the link is below on the Kidney Detox. You click on the link, you'll see all the herbs that's there, and you can take that to your doctor and say, is this okay? But let me tell you this, what I made sure of. I made sure that anyone that had any severe health issue, let me be careful what I say. Let me be careful what I say. I make sure that the herbs that are used would not affect certain things. So yes, I looked up blood thinners as well. I looked up diabetes. I looked up certain things. Okay. So like I said, this is not just random herbs being put together. There's ratios. There's research on the ones to use. There were some herbs that we had to get from other places that was really challenging to get, that are going to be in this blend just because it is the healthier way to go. Okay. Mullein, no, mullein, if mullein is yellow, it's older. It depends on the yellow, but it should be like a sage color, but it should not be dark brown. Okay. Mugwort too. Mugwort should be sage. Okay. So the link is below, Pamela. I believe the link is below, or you can go to spiritualau.com. At the top of the page, you will see, let me see if I can pull it up here. You will see where it says Kidney Detox. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up for you all. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me do this. Present screen. Okay, here we go. All right. Everybody should be able to see. So you go to Spiritual Ascension University. At the top, you'll see detox programs, and you'll see cleanse and clear kidney detox. You click on there, and then you'll see the information on here. Again, take your time, read through it. Again, do it if it resonates with you. If you feel like you should do it. We're gonna have fun. We always have fun during the detoxes. All the information is here. When you click on it, right here, it's going to take you to the Aurora Blends website, and then you'll see the 3 blends you'll get. Yeah, and then you can purchase it if you like. Okay. All right. So with that said, oh, there we go. I see so many questions coming in. Should you do the parasite cleanse before the kidney detox? Well, if you didn't do the parasite cleanse, that's okay. So let me say this: if you want to do the liver detox in October, so we're doing the liver one in October as well, I would say wait to do the parasite because there's a certain amount of space in, but it's like everything is spaced perfectly. Again, I spoke about this during the parasite detox. You cannot detox all organs in 1 month, and you need recovery time, at least 6 to 10 weeks, depending on the detox. So we're doing the kidney detox now. We're going to go into recovery phase until the liver detox. So if you're interested in doing the liver, I would say do the kidney and then do the liver, and you can do the parasite next go around. This detox is going to you're going to release some parasites as well, just because of the type of detox it is. So it's meant to get some parasites out of your kidneys, etc. Okay. So when the herb's been on the shelf for over a year is molded? No. It depends on how. So listen, y'all. Not every company that you buy herbs from is. I don't care how big they are, how popular they are. If you don't know these people, you don't know. That's why I always say, if you can't ask them questions, if they're hesitant to give you answers, don't order it. Okay? You need to be able to ask, when were these harvested? How old is this? Right? And I've learned this because I've been doing this, I don't know, like 15 years, more than 15 years now. So there are some companies, I'm not going to name them, that I've ordered stuff from, and because I know about herbs, I'm like, oh, this is not fresh. This is old. This is molded. I had to call them out on it. And one company said, oh, well, that was an old batch. We have a fresh batch. Well, why did you sell me that one? Okay. But you can keep herbs I have herbs that you can keep them in a mason jar. You keep them I have mullein that I've had in a mason jar for a year and it's still bright green. Okay, so keep it in a mason jar and it will stay. Keep it in a mason jar in a dark space, on a dark cabinet. Okay, don't have it out in the sun and you'll be fine. Tomatoes are nightshades and cause inflammation. Yes, Laura, indeed. And there are many types of tomatoes. The goal is to get heirloom tomatoes, the original tomatoes. A lot of these tomatoes, so nightshades do cause inflammation, especially in certain people, like if you have thyroid issues, etc. But we're talking about the ones that are more acidic. And the ones that are more acidic are the ones that are hybrid. They're not natural. Okay. So you want to get a tomato that is alkaline, which is very hard to buy. This is why you grow them. You guys can grow your own tomatoes. Okay. Um, mm, 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 mm. Yes, Vintasha, if you don't start on the 17th, you can start it later. That's fine. We'll still be there. We'll still be there. We're there from May 1st to May 30th. Okay. What's the email to get in contact with Aurora Blends? So on the website, you can go to contact us, and then you can just fill that in there. Okay. All right. You can also go to detox programs and you can get the detoxes there. Okay. So that said, everyone, I hope that tonight you were able to get some valuable information. Definitely share this information with your loved ones. All y'all should know. Next time you go to the doctor, they do your blood pressure. Listen, you better write those numbers down and be like, I'm not 120 over 80. Okay. What is my number for my particular ethnic group? Find what that number is. Okay. And even with that number, what I would do, I recommend, and your doctors may be mad, don't say I sent you, but you can have your adrenals tested. Okay. And if your adrenals are tested, there are certain things you can do to work with them. And I'll teach more about that, during the workshop. Okay. And it's natural stuff you have in your kitchen, your cabinets, all natural stuff. All right. All right. So with that said, everyone have a wonderful, wonderful night. Again, share this information with your friends, your families, your loved ones, strangers. Be informed physically and spiritually. I love you so, family, and I will see you all soon. Oh, let me address this. You said Ebony, I told my mom I just seen a study about the salt in water, so she would listen. Okay, cool. Let me say this. Don't be badgering people. If you tell them this and they're arguing with you, it's okay. It's not the time for them to hear it. You know who you can share stuff with. Don't get frustrated with yourself because you're trying to wake somebody up or tell them the truth and you send them videos and they getting mad at you. They're in a different level of consciousness and it's okay. It's okay, right? Connect with the people that you can talk to these things about. Don't get mad if your family member doesn't believe you or like, oh, that's nonsense. That don't work. You know, that's fine. What happens is that the truth will catch up. And when the truth catches up, then they'll come to you. They won't say, oh, yeah, you did tell me that. Maybe they will, but they will ask you for help. And at that time, you will say, no problem. Okay. And you won't be like, I told you so. Well, you would have been this sick if you listened to me 5 years ago. We don't do that as spiritual beings. Okay. We don't do that. All right. All right. Everyone have a wonderful night. Love you so, family. Talk to you soon. Peace.